Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced EP is the General Manager of Business and Technical Operations, Mr. Andrew Forrest. Mr. Forrest, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you were able to have me on. It's awesome.
No, I appreciate you coming on. Locomotive soccer or football, however everyone likes to call it, is basically already in full swing. It looks like an exciting season coming on, especially the last game. Let's talk a little bit about the season, Mr. Forrest. What can we all expect this year?
Yeah, I think if we take a couple steps back, we just got out of preseason and had our first game. I think this was just to talk a little bit about preseason. This is a different preseason than we've ever had before. We were able to go to San Antonio for about 7 or 8 days, let all the guys spend time with each other, away from El Paso, where they could really bond and get to know one another. We've got 12 new players, I believe, from the end of last year to the start of this year. So I think it's important for these guys, to trust each other and like each other on the field. They need to at least know each other, off the field, and that really gave us an opportunity, something that we've never done before. We've certainly done little 2, 3 day trips in the past, but to be able to spend a week or so, get 3 games in San Antonio, I think really helped accelerate the bonding process. And kudos to Wilmer for pushing for that, and we were able to do that. So that's, I think, had a really nice preseason. Not a lot of injuries, not a lot of injured players right now, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
So we're headed into the first game, which we just completed last Saturday against the defending champions, and we tied 2-2. But I think, I've mentioned this in some other places. We've got to be honest with ourselves. Last year was not good enough by our standards in any form, on the field. It was poor, and we're not interested in repeating that performance. So I think getting a tie against the champions is a big deal.
Yeah.
I think, seeing that we in much fitter than we have been in years past. And I think what you saw scoring when Andy Cabrera scored, and I think the 90+1 minute, that's different than that's usually when we get scored on in years gone by. That takes a tie to a loss, or a win to a tie. And so for us to be able to battle back, because they scored to go up 2-1 late in the game, and maybe the 75th or so minute. And year teams from other years, we never would have battled back. And to see that we could battle back and find a goal in the last minute, I think that's really going to set ourselves up well for the rest of the season, if that's going to be our mentality. So, I know you asked a pretty simple question, but I wanted to give it a little bit of
No.
context. So I think as the season has started, the first game was a success at home, to give the fans a really great show, and the comeback was amazing. And then we get to turn around and do it again in a few days, and when we play Phoenix for our second home match, which will be another opportunity to get 3 points. And I think if we got 4 points out of 6 the first 2 games at home, we'll be really happy with that.
Yeah, no, I mean that I watched on the CW. You guys partnered up with ABC7 with
Mhm.
that, and I watched that game against Mexico at home. And the kids had the big TV, so I'm watching on my iPad, and I'm just cheering in the background there, like, what's going on back there? And it's like watching the game
Yeah.
here. But it was a great game, and they looked good. And you talking about the guys getting together, spending that week together. I remember seeing photos and stuff on social media. It looked like a different vibe you guys had here, and the team looks and feels different. Um,
Yes, I
well,
I think I think there's a lot less individualistic ego. I think in some years gone by, we've had some, good players, but they've had some me mentality. I think this team is very much a we mentality, and I think that's certainly going to serve the greater good much better than some of the guys that are simply there for themselves, or for their next contract, or for the bonus, or whatever.
mhm,
That's not the case. That doesn't appear to be the case. You've got conscientious guys who are willing to work hard, willing to work for one another. And I think that's really a testament to the selection of players from our head coach, Wilmer Cabrera, as well as our technical director, Ray Sari, to put together. It's not about just, sometimes, because we've tried this, it's not just going out and getting the best guys that
mhm.
are available and some big names. It's going out and finding the right guys in the right positions that will work hard, will challenge each other for minutes. And, right now, I think we've got 15, 16, 18 guys, maybe even more, that could all start. And there's only 11 people that can start, and there's only 18 positions on the bench,
Mhm.
give or take. So I think it's going to push and make training more competitive. And these guys they're all competitive guys, and they're going to continue to push. So I think they'll rise to the occasion, as opposed to wilt to the occasion. So I think it's all the right kind of mentality and mindset right now.
Yeah, I think a team like that, when you build a team like that, you basically motivate everybody, and it's a different feel. And like you said, you said it yourself. They're gonna train harder because they want that spot. So it's just a great
Yeah,
motivation.
absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to be the guy and everybody wants to start, of course, but only so many can. So you just hope that it continues to elevate everybody. It's a steel sharpens steel type scenario in the training session so that Wilmer, the coach, ultimately has the hardest decision to not just pick an 18, but also to pick an 11. But the
Yeah,
beauty of it is that if you need a sub, or if a guy gets hurt throughout the year, that there's another guy that's ready to go and take his place, and he's just as good and he's just as ready. So I've seen this before in other teams I've been with, and it usually leads to good things overall in the league. And again, I'm not going to sit here and make any wild prognostications, but I know that we'll be better, and we'll really obviously want to vie for certainly the playoff is the expectation, but also a home playoff game is what we really want to accomplish for our fans.
that'd be awesome. And then you guys play this Saturday is the next your next match against Phoenix Rising FC. It's over at Southwest University Park. Tickets available right now. I'll
Yep.
put all the information in the description below. That way, everyone can get tickets, get ready for that one. It's gonna. I mean, going to a game is a whole other experience. I've been lucky enough to experience it on the field with the video production crew, and then also as a fan. Man, I really enjoyed it as a fan. It's a whole different level there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like you said, we've got Phoenix this weekend. So we played the last year's champion this weekend. 2 years ago, champion was Phoenix. So and Phoenix is traditionally a very good team. So we're starting off with some good ones.
Yeah,
But I think we do very much take into account the fan experience. We're always trying to improve. Over the past couple of years, we've added a brand new LED board, video board. We
yeah,
added this year LED field boards. So if you come to a game on the field, you'll see those digital boards like you see in MLS or in Europe or big international soccer games. So, I think that continues to add to the look and feel of a professional
for sure.
soccer building, even though, we all understand it's a baseball stadium first and foremost. We understand that, but it helps to create the atmosphere for soccer. We've continued to revise and look at menu choices and options. We've got the team store where we've got a ton of new products. So we're constantly trying to innovate in a way and bring in more toys. Continue to refine the process so that it is the best experience for the guest as we can make it. And I think we take that seriously, and hopefully we've gone through over the course of time. We've proven that. I think we've even added some new pregame pyrotechnic that a little bit different than the past few years. So that's fun. And then we had a really nice fireworks show at the end of the first game. And then this weekend against Phoenix, we have a beanie giveaway to the first 1,500 people that walk through the door. So, and I think it's going to be good, well timed because it's going to be a little windy and a little chilly. So the beanie will go a long way this Saturday.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, giveaways are always a big thing. And then
Yep.
could I ask if you can talk about local young player you guys signed that's from El Paso, Mr. Hoven there. Would you be able to say a little bit about him?
Sure. Yeah. We've got kind of start the big picture, then I'll come into Kenny. I believe we have five local players signed to our team. We have Kenny Hoban, who's 15, turning 16 in April. We have Memo Diaz, who was here. He's from Gadsden, New Mexico, but that's certainly regional, if
Oh
not
yeah,
local.
that's close enough.
And then we've got Emiliano, who we signed them early on or midway through the year last year. We've got Marco Canales, who's one of our goalkeepers in our goalkeepers room. He's a local. He's been in second division Mexico for the last couple of years. And I'm quite sure we have one more that I'm blanking on. But if we talk about Kenny Hoban, this is interesting, right? This is special. We signed him at about 15 and a half, which is by far the youngest player we've ever signed. But we see huge upside. He's been playing at 14. He was playing with our U20 team and with our academy team at Dallas Cup and our academy leagues, and not just getting by. He's been a starter and been a huge part of our success at the U20 level. And we see him as someone that has a really bright future, a great kid from a great family. His dad coaches local high school. His dad coaches in our club. just a great family, and to be able to see this opportunity for him is unbelievable. But at the same time, it's not just a feel good story. It is
Yeah.
a feel good story, but it's not just a feel good story. We think that this kid can play, and we think that he can start to find some minutes possibly this year. But as he develops over the next couple of years, we think that he could be a big player for us, and could be the kind of player that's quite frankly bigger than us, and could make a big move to a bigger league, whether domestically or internationally. We think that he's got that potential, and he's certainly getting some interest from some youth national teams in both Mexico and the United States. So we'll see where it all ends up for him, but it's all in front of him. And the first step was getting the pro contract. The next step is to continue to develop and find some minutes.
Yeah, that's good advice. I mean, I think that's so awesome that there's so many local talent on the Locomotive team, and it's just gonna. I'm just super psyched for the season, Mr. Forrest, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on and talking about the team. I know you have a lot. I know you don't have too much time going on, and uh, as far as anything else, was there? We talked about some of the players, the team. This weekend match with Phoenix Rising FC. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Rad, before we end today, man?
Yeah, no, I think one other thing that's coming up, we've got Phoenix this weekend, but then next Wednesday is a unique game. We're playing in the U.S. Open Cup, and we're actually playing our first home game in Open Cup since 2019. So that will be another game that fans certainly can enjoy if they're interested in. We'd love to see everybody come out, but it's a fun tournament. It's like think of a March Madness where it's a knockout. That's a knockout tournament. So if we win, we continue to move on. If we don't win, then we're not in the tournament anymore. So it's fairly high stakes very early on in the season, and we have not had great success in our tenure in this tournament. So certainly want to turn that around, and I think we have the kind of team with depth and rotation. And this could be a game where maybe Kenny Hoban gets some serious minutes. Maybe Kenny Hoban gets a start. This is a good game for rotation, and a really good opportunity to see what not just what he's about, but some other players that maybe looking to find and claw some minutes out. So it's exciting, and we've got the game Saturday, and then another followed quickly by a Wednesday game. So next week is going to be busy.
I was going to say it sounds busy, sir. Let me ask you one more question.
Sure, of course.
If someone's coming to the game, where would you suggest they get tickets to sit? Where's the best seat in the house there at Southwest University Park for a Locomotive game?
For me, there's two locations based on this park that I think are really, really good. I think it's the second deck behind the goal, and I'm not normally the one that would pick that. Something like 202, 203. We
Hmm.
have a bird's eye view, and if you really like the game and understand the game, or want to understand the game and the positioning and the movement that the players do without the ball, you're able to see the entire field. You're able to see where players go when the ball's over here. What's this left back doing when the right wing has it? Where's he moving? Where's the keeper moving? So I like to see the movement, the positional play.
Nice.
But I think if you're also looking for to be able to smell it, to hear it, to see it up close, sections 120, 121, 119, maybe 8 rows up, where you can still have a little vantage point, but you'll be able to hear the guys chirping at each other and chirping to them, their teammates, and kind of feel the game a little bit more, and hear it and smell it and all those fun things, and maybe some colorful language down there from the players. But that's part of the experience too. So I think kind of depends what you're looking for. But I think the beauty of this ballpark is that it's built so in such a tight footprint that you're still really close to the game. Even when you're in the second deck, or the second upper level, you're still really close to the game and can see a lot and get a lot out of it. So those are my two favorite kind of areas.
Awesome, Miss Forrest. Thank you so much. But I appreciate the seat suggestions. I appreciate you coming on, talk a little locomotive soccer or football, like I said.
Of
And
course.
I'll make sure I put all the information in the description below. That way people can know when the schedule is, how to get tickets, know what upcoming giveaways, if any, coming up. And Mr. Forrest, I appreciate you coming on, and hope we have a great season, man.
Yeah, that's got to be the hope. If we were have to make a choice to be good or bad, we want to be good, and I think we've worked really hard to try to put ourselves in that position from everybody in the front office to certainly the technical staff, to the players themselves. I mean, that's ultimately who needs to get it done, but we know that they've got a lot of support, not just in the front office, but in the community. Obviously, everybody is supporting and coming out, and that's what we want. And I think the more wins we get, the more people will show up. We've seen that, so we're excited for what we hope is a really great year.
Sounds good. Mr. Forrest, thank you again for joining me. Have a good day,
Yep.
and we'll see you at the next match, man.
Yep. We will see you there. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thanks, man.